guys, welcome back to the MCU HQ. Today I'm going to do a breakdown of the new trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. This came out last night. There is a lot to unpack, a lot to talk about here. So I knew immediately after finishing it that I was going to want to do a breakdown of it. Let's do this, starting off with a great shot of San Francisco. Starting it off with Kang. So you're an interesting man, Scott Lang. Every one of Kang's lines in this trailer is a look into what the story of this movie is going to be. So it's important to kind of pay attention to him. So you're an interesting man, Scott Lang. This is all stuff we've seen. I think this is... Can't remember what this was for. He wrote a Humanitarian Global Service Award. Oh yeah, because he basically saved the world. Or the universe. Okay, I love this. So... his suit is nanotech, which I know a lot of people are going to hate. But what he does, this is when he's dropping in, this looks like when he's falling into the quantum realm that we see a bit later. And one of the questions was, how does he get his suit if he had normal clothes when he went in? I think it's clear the suit's nanotech, and that's why it has the little circle in the middle. It's its little like nanotech dispenser. I hate that everyone has nanotech now. Just, it super bothers me. But something about it being Ant-Man kind of makes it better. Just because of pin particles and whatnot. And I always love the way the Ant-Man helmets come up and over and just like fold into place. That's cool. And it looks like he grows to actually make the fall less like painful. Yeah, because he smacks the ground hard, so I think he grew so that way he wasn't hitting it at such a high speed that small, which is a very cool use of the shrinking and growing tech. Okay. This is probably the most important shot in the trailer. This and one we're going to see in a few seconds here. Because this is a window into the deal that Scott is going to make with Kang. The deal with the devil that Scott's going to make. So... obviously, Scott Lang was in the quantum realm for 5 years, and he missed a bunch of his daughter's life. And he shows back up in Endgame, and what is probably the saddest scene in that movie is him seeing Cassie again, and saying she's so big. And now he's looking at little Cassie, and he misses little Cassie, because he remembers little Cassie. Look how sad he looks. Paul Rudd is a great actor, by the way. Just love Paul Rudd. Cassie's in jail. I think this is a fun tie-in with her dad, who was also in jail. So, I mean, I guess she learned from him.
You've lost a lot of time, like me.
You've lost a lot of time, like me. That is, like, the point here. So, we see... I'll talk more about it in a sec.
We can help each other with that.
Here's them all going into the quantum realm, which we've seen. We've seen this before. This is the coolest shot, by the way. This is the coolest shot. Going through it, you see a hint of the blue mask. Who are you?
I'm the man who can give you the one thing you want.
Okay. I gotta talk about him and his mask. So, the lines... these lines he has... in, comic Kang designs, those are part of that design. But in this, they're scars on his face. And his eyes are blue when the mask is on, but they're not normally blue. So because the mask comes off, the eyes are still blue. But he says he can give Scott the one thing he wants.
Time.
That suit looks awesome. He can give Scott time. So... it's pretty clear what's happening here is Kang, an Avenger, came to him. An Avenger who wants something, and Kang is like, cool, that means you can help me. I'm going to use this as leverage. And it seems like he's using the time Scott lost with Cassie as sort of a bribe to get Scott to work for him. And he can restore those years and that time Scott lost with his daughter, and Scott makes the deal. And we're going to talk a bit later. I have a video coming out in a few days on why I think Ant-Man has to die in this movie to honor what the theme of this movie is going to be. And whew, it's going to be heavy. Also, this is a good point to mention before we get too into the action, the thick of it here, that, so, this looks very serious. This does not look like it has the same fun vibe that Ant-Man and the Wasp had. Peyton Reed said he doesn't want to be the small palate cleanser movie anymore. He wants to be the big Avengers movie. This looks like that movie. Peyton Reed, I'm sorry, I doubted you. Number 2, the script for this film looks phenomenal based off what we've seen. It looks great. All the lines sound great. It is written by Jeff Loveness. Now, eyes are kind of on him here because he's also writing Avengers the Kang Dynasty, which I can understand since he's doing Kang in this. Why not keep that writing consistent? And so that movie's written by Jeff Loveness, directed by Destin Daniel Cretton. We know Destin Daniel Cretton can do a great job with superheroes. We saw that in Shang-Chi. This is Jeff Loveness' first foray, not just into superheroes, but into big budget screenplay writing in general. So I'd say there's a lot of pressure on him to deliver a good screenplay for this movie, because if the screenplay for this movie is less than desirable, it's gonna leave a lot of doubts going into Avengers the Kang Dynasty. But what we've seen from this screenplay so far, it's phenomenal. So I hope the rest of it is as good as the hints we've seen in this. Also, Kang's eyes aren't blue anymore. I was watching something and they said this is a sort of clock imagery. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. It might actually be a clock. And his little towers there in the middle. I've mentioned this previously, but I think the thing that's so scary about Kang is that he's already on Earth. Because he's just chilling in the quantum realm, which means effectively he has an entire army on the tip of that pen. Yes, it's a musket pen, by the way. Alright, let's continue before my camera battery dies.
It can rewrite existence.
So I wanted to say this is kind of Janet when she first went into the quantum realm, but this doesn't. I think that this looks more like Michelle Pfeiffer now. It's hard to tell what age Michelle Pfeiffer is because she has a friggin' age. But I mean, they get separated, obviously, because there's Scott and Cassie, and then we see the Pym Van Dyne family, so maybe they all start out separated, and this is Janet in the quantum realm. I do also think it's cool that you have two separate groups of people who have missed their children's childhoods because they've been stuck in the quantum realm. Janet did it, and we have that again with Scott, and that's the similarity that Hope and Cassie have. Okay, 2 Scotts. So there's a theory Scott Lang is going to die, and my thing is there's multiple Scotts. But we're going to see multiple Scotts later in this trailer too, but knowing there are multiple Scotts is a great setup for something Ant-Man ends up doing later in this trailer.
You cannot and shatter timelines. You cannot trust him.
Okay, so this is after, I'm assuming this is after Scott has made his deal with Kang, and Janet's trying to tell him, like, you're screwed, like, you're done, this isn't... Janet knows about Kang. I think this is an amazing level of depth to give to Janet, because she was like kind of a nothing character in Ant-Man and the Wasp, and she was alluding to all this crazy stuff in the quantum realm, and to have her know about the greatest threat to really ever and not divulge that, I think that adds great depth. Like, she has experienced Kang the Conqueror already, so that's awesome. Let's talk about Evangeline Lilly's hair, shall we?
You cannot trust him.
I kind of like it. A lot of people hate it. I don't. My one thing with Hope in this movie... I said Janet, didn't I? Hope. My one thing with Hope is I don't know where they take her character. Like, I feel like there's not where to take it that they didn't take it in Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I'm interested to see what they do. Hopefully she has some sort of special bond with Cassie over the fact they both lost their parents to the quantum realm. All right, here he is, boys. Okay, so this looks like our heist team, by the way, because it's Scott, Kang, Cassie with her little suit, a couple of Kang's guards. We can't see their faces, and honestly makes me wonder if they are Kang, and MODOK. Now, I wasn't sure when I first watched the trailer. I'm still not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's a giant Corey Stoll head. So the running theory, and what looks like this trailer confirms, when Yellow Jacket was pulled into the quantum realm by Scott, this happened, and he turned into MODOK. So they're definitely changing MODOK from what he was in the comics, and hopefully it works. I want me some MODOK. MODOK was so funny in the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes cartoon. So please make MODOK good. He is not ugly enough to be comics accurate, but I love that they did the whole big head thing. It's perfect.
I just lost so much.
There it is. This is a great edit here. You get Scott and small Cassie cut to Scott and big Cassie, and big Cassie looks sad.
Give us a second chance.
Paul Rudd, by the way, is out acting everyone except Jonathan Majors in this. Like, the two of them are up here and everyone else is, like, here. They're still doing good, but, like, Paul Rudd is killing it. I love the look of this. I don't even have anything to talk about besides just how cool it is. Although I will say, based off this yellow glow, I'm assuming this is him diving into whatever chamber the thing Kang needs is in. I don't know what that item is. I know people have said it's a time chair. We're going to find out. Quantum Stingray! What's it even doing? It's cutting through something. I think that's just a cool visual. And, okay, here's the Pim Van Dynes. Obviously, you have Janet as the one in charge, which I think is cool. You know, give Janet something to do. She's the experienced one. Use her as the guide. I'm assuming she's also the one who's going to help them find Bill Murray. That's probably who they're going to get, actually. And then you have Hope and Hank there also. So I think it's cool that we're getting the Pim Van Dynes on their own adventure, because we haven't gotten that whole family doing a thing, because obviously these three were all dead for 5 years, and then Janet and Hank weren't in the battle, so it's cool to see them get to do something. I just wish Hank and Janet had suits. Give me 5 ant people, please. So this is whatever Kang needs. And this little pile of ants are not ants after all. So I have no clue what this is. We do get another shot of it here. But here you can see it. His army of ants in this movie is an army of Scotts. He has a bunch of little Scott Langs. And then he tries to shoot it with his little shrink thing. And then there's this. No clue what it is. But, oh, actually, hold on. I think I do know what it is. It is kind of a similar vibe to this portal Kang has here. Something similar to that. Who? Okay. So Cassie's back with Hank here. This could be them mounting a rescue to go save Scott, actually. The classic shot. The classic shot. Never fails to make me emotional. I'm thinking back to Endgame with Black Widow and Hawkeye on Vormir. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. They do have to keep this love story important, though, because they've been building up Scott and Hope's relationship throughout these 2 movies, and if it isn't focused on and doesn't have a satisfying conclusion, then what the hell was the point? Because the relationship between those 2 is so crucial to this franchise, because remember, Hope started out hating Scott, so I hope they don't sideline it too much. I know a lot of people are going to be like, boo, it's boring, focus on the cool shit. This is cool shit to me, alright? And they need to focus on it. Witness the beginning. Oh, hold on, he's got a whole little war going on here. Okay, it just hit me. There's an army of Scott Langs. Are they using their army of Scott Langs to fight Kang's little time army here? Also, is that his throne? But look at him. He just doesn't even give a shit. He just looked every single shot of Kang. He looks awesome. So here's Kang's army, which we saw a better shot of in the previous trailer, and they do look amazing. They are huge. Witness the beginning of a new dynasty. Okay, I unashamedly love this tagline. I think it's cool. But I do kind of have mixed feelings on it. Because they might as well just put Avengers the Kang Dynasty in theaters May 2nd, 2025. It's just an ad for the Kang Dynasty. And it's weird how Kang-centric the tagline is when it's an Ant-Man movie. But the tagline itself is cool. Would it have worked better on Avengers? We're going to see. But yeah, witness the beginning of New Dynasty. All the ships flying through. So we've seen this previously. And actually, if I had to guess, now that I think about it, that's probably not an army of Scots. Judging by this shot that we see of the people running, I wonder if Kang is ransacking Bill Murray's place that he runs, because he's the governor of something. And so they're probably all there, and Kang's like, nope, we ain't doing this. And he just goes and blows it all up. This is the shot that had me worried from the first trailer Hank was going to die, and it's not off the table, quite honestly. Here we go. This is all my fault, says Cassie. Consequence, regret, pain, just what I love to see. Give me more. Hell yeah, Jeff Loveness. No, Cassie realizing her mistakes because, you know, she built the thing to send a signal to the quantum realm. In a way, she kind of got them into this mess, and Scott made this deal because of her. So I like the idea that she feels this immense regret and has this immense internal struggle, that the fact that her dad dying might be because of her. Oh, also, in the comics, Cassie became Stature because her dad died. She's getting a suit in this movie. She might be becoming Stature because her dad dies. And then this is a continuation of what we saw in the first trailer of all these Scots running. And so it almost seems like they're time dilated and they're duplicating as they do their motions because, you know, we see this one growing and then another one comes out of Scott and puts the helmet on like he's gonna grow or shrink or go into battle or whatever. So it's almost like they're duplicating because they're time dilated. And we get a little Mr. Fantastic thing here. This Scott in particular turns into spaghetti. And so you can always tell which one's main Scott. He's the one that doesn't have his helmet on. I will say the CG here could use some more. What's he running on? Like, he looks like he was painted in later. But this is our main Scott. He doesn't have his helmet on. And this is all the army of Scots here that he uses to get whatever he needs to get. You may not want her to watch this, and then he goes and kicks Ant-Man's ass. Oh my god, Scott, who would have thought that the villain betrayed you? Villainy 101, never trust them. Although I do wonder if Scott never trusted Kang to begin with, and he sort of had alternate motives. I don't know. But Scott seems... Although I'm assuming by the we had a deal, Scott brought Kang what Kang wanted. And Kang was like, alright, cool, and didn't give Scott the last part of the deal, and that's how Kang gets unleashed upon everything. And so this is where Scott's big sacrifice comes in, which as we segue into the last little bit of this trailer, is where we really get to talk about Scott Lang's sacrifice here. So we see he's fighting Scott, alright? Now, that's who that is. Okay. I thought this was Kang, but no, this person jumping, I think that's Cassie. I think that's Cassie. And this looks like a giant piece of Kang's palace, his fortress. I think it looks incredible. MODOK with the mask on! So people saw in the initial trailer and on the Funko Pop masked MODOK and immediately got pissed. It's a retractable mask. He wears it into battle because why, when your head is that big, would you want that exposed? That's a great improvement from the comics. It makes more sense. I love his little hands. Oh my god, he's adorable. He's got his blasters. Okay, so Kang's missing a sleeve here. So a lot of people have, or not a lot of people, but I've seen people wondering if this is a different Kang. I don't think this is a different Kang. I really don't. It's the same Kang, just battle damage. And we're going to see something we've never seen Ant-Man be, and that's beat to shit. So Wasp here is doing that same thing that Ant-Man was actually doing earlier. Which is like duplicating. So you see as she's flying, all the other Wasps are like flying into her. I think it's a time dilation thing that we're seeing that they're taking advantage of. And then she's saving Scott from his army of Scots. So she's pulling him out of the army of Scots, which we're going to see here in a bit. Okay, now this is the important part. The easiest way to beat Ant-Man is to break his helmet. Right? Because if you break Ant-Man's helmet, he cannot shrink or grow. Which means that by doing that, he is now locked into a one-on-one battle. He's now locked into fisticuffs with Kang the Conqueror. He cannot use his abilities. He's stuck in normal form, and he has to go 1v1 with this man.
I don't have to win. We both just have to lose.
Okay.
I have to win.
I gotta take it back because I have to pause it, but that line's important. So, first off, look how beat up he is. I hate seeing Scott this way. I'm kidding, I love seeing Scott this way. I think this is great drama, but I don't have to win. We both just have to lose. He has to delay Kang because Kang has what he wants. Kang can come do his dynasty shit and wreak havoc upon Earth 616. Scott just has to hold him off. He just has to hold him off. And I think part of Scott's sacrifice is that he is going to give his life, but in doing so, he's going to stop Kang. Whether that's killing Kang or just delaying Kang and trapping him, doesn't matter. And keep in mind, he can kill Kang because he's a time traveler and variants. Another Kang can easily pop up, whether this one dies or not. And in fact, I think him dying would be a major flex because Ant-Man killed him. But to have Scott make the ultimate superhero sacrifice and say, I'm going to lose my life, I'm going to lose everything I love, but I'm going to be able to save the entire world in the process is the most superhero thing. I love that we're giving Scott Lang this decision and him having to come to terms with his consequence of wanting more time and making a deal with the devil, that him having to learn the lesson to cherish the time you have and not take advantage of that. I think that's the lesson of this movie. I think that's the theme of this movie. I think that's why Scott Lang has to die in this movie. I have a full video coming out about it where I go more in depth on it. These are just my basic thoughts, but I feel like to pay off what I believe the theme of this movie is setting up about cherishing what you have, that Scott having to make the sacrifice and not taking that time with Cassie to stop Kang, or at least hold off Kang the Conqueror, I think that's how it's going to go. And here he is going into his army of Scots. The whole thing's falling apart. Listen to his line. I'm sorry, Cassie. Does that not sound like the most dead line ever? And then Kang closes it out. He comes down in the middle of this war where, hold on, do you have an army of Scots? I'm trying to track the army of Scots. Because in the background, it looks like there's a couple Scots. But they're at Kang's little palace, which is probably why he's so pissed off. And boom, Jonathan Majors ends the trailer here with a laser blast right towards us. Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. I think they brightened up the Ant-Man and the Wasp because you couldn't even see it in the first trailer. And that's it. That's the end of the trailer. I did it before my camera battery died. But there you guys go. There's my best job at a breakdown of the Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer. What did you think of the trailer, and what are some of your theories about what's happening in this movie? Let me know down in the comments below. Also, leave a like on the video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCU HQ. This can be it. Have a great day, guys.